Good day, strategy gamers, and welcome back to episode 7 of our Let's Play series. This is the 1941 scenario as we play the Soviets. We're in turn 3, and in this episode we're going to be completing our ground movement phase for turn 3, and then we're going to go ahead and in turn see what the German player does, how far do they advance, and get to see the results of the defense lines that we've built, right? That's the great challenge here. So we've got a lot that we've had going on, and in the previous episode we took care of everything north of Kiev and really kind of around the Aryol pocket. Everything north is all taken care of. We got a little trigger happy, at least I did, in the previous episode by actually going down further south than we normally do. Usually we cut off at Aryol, but I continued moving south. So many of these units we've actually already completed their movements, and we have them in defensive positions, kind of where we like them. And again, to reemphasize, we're still having the same philosophy of building this front line, Leningrad through Smolensk, Aryol, Kursk, down south, etc. That's still the goal. Still know that it'll probably be pressed and pressured and pushed back, but it's the goal. The change in tactics that we have is, where possible, we're going to try to move up and create layers of defense. That might be a little less obvious here in this episode, as the northern fronts, if you think about it this way, right, the Germans really have to capture Leningrad, Moscow, Sevastopol, Rostov, and probably Stalingrad, depending on when they capture these things, right? Those are kind of the key focuses for them. Our priority is going to be, and will continue to be, the defense of Leningrad and Moscow, right? Because if we can hold those two, we will win. Even if they're ahead of schedule, even if they take Stalingrad, most likely, I should say, it's not a certainty, but most likely, even if all of the south falls, but we manage to hold Moscow and Leningrad, I think we're going to be just fine. It'll be a lot more difficult to beat the German player back, but so yeah, that's where our reinforcements are going next turn. Is they're going to continue to pour into Rzhev to help reinforce and bolster Smolensk and Leningrad, as those are, Smolensk is kind of the gateway for the Germans to Moscow. The Germans will take it unless a miracle kind of happens, but then we're just going to keep falling back with that line, and then hopefully hold them before they get to Moscow proper. Anyways, back into the weeds of what we have to do this turn. So we're just going to go through here and see, are these still the spots that we want to have of these units? And I think for the most part here it is, right? Because again, we want layers. We want them to try to push through these forested areas, and they don't really have an opportunity here to go around us. We got a couple that are a little further back, but this is probably okay because we do need to have some type of fallback to the Desna River if they break through, because we don't want them just racing across here towards Kursk and Kharkov unopposed. So we'll keep them there. Right here we've got some units we haven't moved yet that we're going to move up. And for example, I think I'm going to take this rifle division right here, probably to this swamp hex on the other side of the river, because they're going to want to follow this road, I think. And then we have a few units that are on trains right now, so we're going to take them off. We've got 7,500 men in that rifle division. Might actually debating having you move back here again to kind of create layers, give you a chance to rest a little. It's going to raise their fatigue, but we're going to bring them there. This mechanized unit I'm going to bring up here. I think I'm just... yeah, we'll have them stack there. Got a couple of HQ units here, so like we want to get this HQ a little closer. Over here, they've got this wall that's probably going to crash down south towards Kiev, so I'm going to try to meet them a little sooner than that. because they haven't come down as quickly south as they have from the south to the north. So we're going to use you to go up here. Thinking maybe here, the other side of this river. It's in swamp. I think that's probably a pretty good spot. Then let's see. That security unit, I'm actually going to leave there. They're in a decent defensive position. It's going to force them to kind of take it if they want to move north of this line of Kiev. This tank division we're going to move up. But first what I want to do is I think this mechanized unit, I want to move you. Where do I want to move you? I think I want to move you up here towards this northern defense. I think so. Oh, I might have you go here. Yeah, it's kind of this in-between, right? Because we got this gap in our line from here north. And maybe we'll even bring up, like, that's a really defensible position right there, right? Yeah, so I think this is going to work well. Just moving forward our line a little bit north of Kiev. Move you forward. Okay. Got some units out here that probably aren't going to make it back. And they're pretty beaten up as is. So we're just going to try to move them up as best we can. So, like, let's take you and move you into this city with heavy woods. Toss you these heavy woods right here. There's only 200 men in this, right? So it's just something to force them to attack. That's all it is. This tank division, we just want to get as far away as possible. It's only 900 men. Kind of the same story here. Bring you down there. It's 2 HQ units. We're just going to retreat. Alright, just save the HQs. So these 2 infantry divisions. They're not terribly strong. I mean, combined, they don't even equal a full-strength rifle division. I'm thinking I'm going to pull them back a little bit. I'm going to take them into these woods, I think. Actually, I might even take them even further back into these hills. Yeah, because if I can maybe get in here, dug in a little, that might really help. Take back this HQ unit as well. Okay. These are all in place. This tank division, I'm going to move up here. We're going to have this 55th tank division. I think I might want to pull them out of this hex. I want to set them to refit. And then we're going to take these 2 tank divisions. We're going to set them on reserve. And we had this one that was on a train. You're full strength. We're going to bring you up. And we're going to set you... Oh, never mind. You're not quite ready. Oh, I probably grabbed the wrong one, I bet. You did. 43rd Tank Division. Here we go. Set you on reserve. So now right behind Kiev, we've got a little bit more of a defensive position. Another tank division here. I think I might actually keep that where it's at. This tank division has been cut off and does not stand much of a chance of survival. So I think what I might do is have them... Thinking about having them come south to see if maybe... Because their line's a little thinner over here. if I just move here and here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay there. And then from there we'll see where we can go. Fuel, you're good on for another turn of movement, so that's good at least. This security division might leave you. Well, let's go back to Kiev. I don't think we're quite done with Kiev yet. So we got a lot of HQ units here, right? And I think some of them can be brought up a little. Oh, because now you're just not in range of anyone, so we'll bring you back down, I suppose. You can be brought up. We're going to have some work to do here with our command structures, I think. Yeah, because we got so many that are just out of position. So you I'm going to assign to 14th Mechanized. I'm going to assign you to 9th Mechanized. Okay. Let's see. We're fine here. Fine here. That tank division we're going to... I keep grabbing the wrong one. We're going to have to be in a stack anyways, but we're going to set you to reserve. Have you in refit. You will also come up. You will go to refit status. Okay. Now up here, I think I might find ourselves in such a difficult position because there's no terrain to help us. Right down here, we don't have swamps, we don't have hills, we don't have forest. We're just kind of stuck. But I do think I'm going to move them up to try to buy us a little bit more time. Yeah, and down here we really have a bit of a gap in our line, so I might bring some of you south. You're a cavalry division that's depleted. Let's just get you back here to city. Set you on refit. You are... Well, we'll come back to you. Keep looking at the front line for another minute here. Some of these security divisions I might kind of let feed to the wolves, right? Just might let you stay right there, force them to either go around or through. This mountain division, it's already kind of forced these guys to stop here in the previous turn, so we're going to now withdraw it just a little bit. And I think I might have you go a little south, because I think that's where really we have some opportunity. Down here, between our lines. Here we have a tank division. Wow, we have a lot of HQ units here. Let's move up that infantry. This entire stack of HQs we're just going to move back. So many. It's a little cleaner to look at now. I think where do I put you? Have you go down here, I think. 2 airborne brigades in the same hex. I think it might be smarter actually for us to split them in 2. So let's have you go down here. Come down here. I'm a little worried about them quickly pushing past Odessa and kind of getting into the Crimea before I have any type of defense built, so that's why I'm bringing just a few more units a little further south. I would honestly rather have them push through the middle, right? So that way we have enough time to build up a defense around Crimea. But we'll see how that goes. Around Kiev, are we okay? Do we have more things we want to do here? I think we do. I'm going to bring you up, set you on reserve. I don't know that we need 2 infantry divisions in any spot in our line in the same hex because we're stretched so thin. I'm wondering if it makes sense to bring you north here. I think it probably does. Question is where. Kind of like one of these 2 hexes, I think. So I think we might do that. Okay. These 3 airborne brigades, they're going to break. So this HQ unit back. I really kind of want to bring back this armor here. I think I'm going to. Okay. So there's that. We've got some units that were a little cut off here, right? So let's see where we want you to go to cause the most difficulty for them. I'd have you go sit on these hills. So let's have you come up here, and then you can go down 1 next turn. Infantry division there with 20 defensive combat value. I think it makes sense to keep you there. Forcing them to go around. This infantry division. I don't know that they're actually going to stop anyone, so I'm going to move them back. Here we have this mountain division. They are on rough terrain. Is one terrain more rough than the other? I don't know. I don't think so. Might move them back 1 though. There we go. Here we're going to take one of the security units up here, and then this infantry division I'm going to retreat. Okay. That mountain division can stay there. Okay, I have some units here. I mean, Odessa is going to get cut off. There's no other way to look at that. And I did give this a lot of thought. I am going to make Odessa into kind of a city fort. So let's first take off a couple of these units off the train. And then we're going to go here and add a number of these to the Odessa fortress. I'm going to add nearly all of them to the Odessa fortress. All of them that I can, at least. Okay. City fort. City fort. You're out of range to be in the city fort. So I'm going to actually have you pull back. I know I brought you down to be part of the Odessa defense, but now I'm pulling you back. I'm also going to pull back this tank division. Actually going to have them go back even further and set them on refit. This tank division we're going to take off the train. Have them on refit as well. Back here to Odessa, we've got a rifle division and a cavalry division. a rifle division here and a rifle division here. I think I'm going to take this rifle division and have them join the city. So we're now north of 100 in terms of our defensive value. And then these other units I'm going to withdraw. So if I can't get them into the city fort, I don't know if they're going to do too much good. You've already kind of slowed these guys down. So I think I'm going to move you back here to the swamp where at least you're at defensive value 6. And then we're going to get a lot of these HQ units out of here. We have an airborne brigade there too, so let's look at them in a minute. Southern Air Command, come back here. 18th Mechanized can go back here. Yeah, you're fine. This air brigade. Yeah, you know, I'm going to keep them there just to make it so that way if they do want to cross, they have to expend more and yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Oh, we got the 9th Army we need to move back to. Okay. Do we have anything we can attach to you in terms of support units? No. No, I don't think we have many support unit options available right now. Okay, continuing to look here around the Crimea. I don't need 2 of you on the same stack, so I'm going to move 1 of you south here. This infantry division will move up here. Right, so we want to start holding along this river before they even get to the Crimea choke point. So we'll have multiple layers, right, for them to have to push through. Back up here, we've got you on a train. We're going to take you off. And I think we'll have you start to come south towards the Crimea to help. Maybe could have left you on the train, actually. These guys I'm going to have... Yeah, Let's get them off the train first. This mechanized unit. Might have them go up here. That rifle division I might actually have stay in the city. I'm gonna have you come down that city. We have a mountain division here. Let's keep you on the train. We're gonna move you down south here. Take you off the train. We'll have you start to move up here. Don't have anything new in Sevastopol. Don't have any movement actions on you. HQ units, rifle division. Hello, I would like your service, please. Let's bring you here to city, and then next turn you should be able to unload. Yeah, I still need 55. Okay. Are there any others in the Caucasus region we can pull up? Don't believe there will be. Does not look like it. Their HQ unit we'll leave there for now. Not quite to the point where we're short on headquarters and armies. We will get there eventually, but not yet. I don't want to exhaust supply and freight allowance moving up HQ units that aren't actually going to attribute to anything at the front. Real quick, we'll just assign you to the nearest unit. Same with you guys, because it doesn't make sense for you to be in the North Caucasus. front. Go through and do that. Assign you. Have any up here? Oh, you're actually all good. You should be reassigned though. There we go. Okay. Well, that was some good stuff, I think. So have a few layers, right? But I am still nervous for seeing what the German player is going to do in the next turn. Down over here we got some units behind the line. Let's just look at them real quick. This is all rough terrain. I think I'm going to have the security unit move up here into these hills, just to again kind of cut them off, right? You are in rough terrain, we'll let you stay there. They're pretty much starving to death, these poor guys. These poor boys. 9% general supplies, that won't even last them into next turn. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Let's have that border unit move one up there. Okay. Over here, yeah, I don't know we're going to move them. We're just going to leave them, I think. And I don't think we have any other units that are cut off that we haven't moved, because we did the Minsk pocket in the previous episode. So that's all of that. Let's take a look now. Oh, I got some still on trains here. We can take these guys off. These are just HQ units. Okay, that's done. See any other symbols like that? I don't think so. It's right as I say that, but you're out of movement points for this turn. Odessa will be the interesting one. I think I should be able to at least hold out this turn. The thing is, when we look at the historical date, they held out until October. I don't know we're going to hold that long, right? I really don't think we will. I have a growing sense of pessimism about this entire campaign. The more and more we get into it, if I end up losing in 20 turns, I'll tell you what, I'm going to come right back with another series of 1941 to hopefully have learned from all my mistakes. Around Moscow, I don't know if I saw this. Oh, these are the militia units. Yeah, I did see that in the previous turn. Right, no infantry. We're going to leave them there. We're going to let them dig in, right? Because there is very defensible terrain around Moscow. There really is. So we'll let them stay. You've already moved in the previous episode. So let's take a quick look at our commander's report. And I'm going to clear all filters and just kind of show you what I did. Let's take a look only at things that are arriving. And then let's look at things that are arriving to the map, right? And then this is all turn 3, so this all happened this turn. Why don't I see other turns? Ah, this is why. Transfer, yeah, should be, okay. So here, this is turn 4. So this is what we get in turn 4, next turn. And these are all going to go, not all of them, all of these that have the from Soviet reserves are the ones we manually did in the previous episode. So all of these are going to be going to Rzhev, which means we've got 13 rifle divisions coming into Rzhev to help strengthen the north. Depending on how the German simulation goes, we will then decide, do we need to have turn 4 reinforcement, or excuse me, turn 5 reinforcements? Do they need to maybe go to the south of the map? Or do we do another turn of reinforcements going into Rzhev? I'm betting we're going to have another 2 turns or so of reinforcements going into Rzhev because the north just has to be our priority. And I would rather kind of get to the point where let them take Kiev, let them take Odessa ahead of schedule, and really make really strong stands at places like Rostov, Stalino, eventually Stalingrad, Sevastopol, of course. Yeah, I think what we might do is like around turn 6 or something, depending on how far they get. We might then in that turn just dump a whole bunch into Sevastopol or Rostov or something like that. So, got a lot coming in this next turn. Before I forget, let's make sure we have the AI help us with our depots. And then I think we're going to hit next turn, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Germans do. Cross your fingers for me, will you, viewer? Please cross your fingers. Here we go. Logistics phase for the German player. It's going pretty quick, usually stalls out a little, about 60 or 70 it slows down. They've got a lot of stuff to repair and a lot of logistics to move forward. Yeah, I can't stress this enough. Probably the most difficult scenario I've attempted since I started playing War in the East 2. Feel like maybe I should have done a little bit of more prep before doing the Let's Play series, but I want to stick with this. I want to see this to its conclusion and hope you guys come along with me. I think if we do end up actually surviving 1941, we are going to look back at some of these episodes. At least I'm going to. And I'm going to go, wow, we were close. It was a close thing. Because I think we're a little behind schedule right now. But we can maybe make that up in other areas, so we'll see how that goes. As I reminded a couple episodes ago, just because the Germans maybe took something a month later doesn't mean that the decisions we made resulting in them taking it a month early maybe were the right decisions, because then it allows us to hold something else longer. The challenge is you have to, as the Soviet player in 1941, the most challenging thing is you have to come up with some type of gauge of how far do you retreat, how quickly do you retreat, where do you try to hold. It has been a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be, but it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And it is a stark contrast to the Stalingrad to Berlin scenario that we've been doing, where there's a very uniform line. We kind of have the upper hand for much of it. But it's not even about the fact that the Soviets were stronger in that particular scenario, because that's where the tide of the war turned. It's more so it's easier as a human player because there's structure to the front line. A front line exists. We are still in turn 4 now of this scenario, and there is no front line. There is simply a huge mass of a couple million Soviet troops retreating and trying to figure out, when do I stop running, is what we're in right now. The Germans only have minimal sorties running right now because this is something that players who have played as the Germans in these scenarios will know. It can be a little difficult to keep your air armies up to speed with how quickly your front lines are advancing. Right, so very quickly you have large portions of your air force out of range of where you're trying to press the attack. So it looks like we're going through in the Baltics some of these units that they needed to clean up. And most of these are just going to be surrendering. And a big reason for that is their supply levels are just, I mean, again, and this is very historical, these guys just didn't even have any food to eat. Right, so trying to come up with a reason to keep fighting when you have empty stomachs and absolutely no hope, right, of breaking out. It's tough. So it took 2 attacks, but they did surrender in that south pocket near Chum. This is up by Minsk. So you see, we took Minsk again, which just surprises the crap out of me in the previous episode. And they're going to take it back this turn. I'm almost certain of it. But it's going to, again, use up some of their resources, hopefully. So we do have a defensive value of 17. The problem is, even though we have that defensive value, those units are out of command range. They have low supply. They're isolated. They just... morale is very low. All of these things are working against us there. But we have a couple of units here that are holding. Right, like, so that took an entire infantry division to get rid of our rifle division. So that's something. But they're slowly collapsing in on that Minsk pocket. Alright. Now, they're still working their way north here. This is down south near Odessa. Here's where we're in all that rough terrain, right? And it's interesting, it looks like they didn't have any visibility to our units there. Okay, so we managed to hold against that infantry division. We're going to probably, yeah, we retreated during the second attack. So we'll try to get that mountain division back up onto some rough terrain. This is Minsk, and we actually held the first attack, but it dropped our defensive combat value in half. They attacked a second time, we held once more. So now they're going to have to try again. We held against another infantry division, so we've repelled 3 attacks in Minsk this turn. And then finally we surrendered and shattered. So I mean, it was kind of the inevitable outcome, but at the very least we had them commit about 4 infantry divisions to trying to take Minsk back, instead of using their movement points and their keeping their fatigue low, right, to keep up with the advance towards the front. And the Minsk pocket was so large too that the German player always has to commit resources to clean it up. But I don't think it's common necessarily to have recaptured Minsk like that. Really, that buffeted the defensive value and probably added urgency to the German player to take Minsk back. Here we're in the south of the map and they're cleaning up a lot of those machine gun positions we had, just kind of isolated and behind enemy lines. Yeah, they're just mopping everything up here. Which is fine, we expect it. The real curious point is going to be when we get to seeing where they counterattack and where they assault the various cities, right? Do they take, or do they try to encircle Smolensk? Do they successfully encircle Odessa? All these questions, right? We actually held here just south of Odessa, which is really good news. This is Peskov. So they were scouting us here. We have 47 defensive value in Peskov. Hoping we can hold Peskov for a turn. Really hoping we can. Still scouting us out. Okay, they've brought up more Panzer divisions, so they currently have 41 combat value attack from what we can see. No, they pushed us back. Shoot. So they did take Peskov this turn. That's unfortunate. We're going to have to take a look at the battle results too to see if we maybe did any measurable damage to them. I don't know, but at the very least we probably forced them to commit a lot of their movement points, a lot of their combat preparation points towards taking Peskov, which hopefully gives us then a turn or two to start building out that defensive line north of Peskov as we retreat towards Leningrad and Lake Ilmen. Here they're trying to get rid of us in the Baltics again. And finally we did surrender. Okay. Yeah, so there they broke through. That's unfortunate. They don't seem to be, and their turn's not over yet, but they have not yet moved too far north in the Baltics, so that's curious. We'll see if that stays by the end of the turn the same. They're pushing out of Peskov now with an infantry division, which is a little surprising to me they did get so much infantry up there so quickly. Managed to hold that time, so that's something. And then retreated. Yeah, the German player, they're taking some losses there. We routed that time, that's unfortunate. So pretty much all the forces we had defending Peskov have now routed and retreated. Oh, they pushed very far north. They're up here near Novgorod now. That's much further than I'd like to see them. They're pushing down now south towards Lake Ilmen. Oh boy. That's tough. That's really advanced for them. Alright, so this is north of, or excuse me, this is kind of northwest of Smolensk here. We got quite a defensive line built here through these hills. We'll see if they manage to push through all of it. It's, God, it can feel so demoralizing just um, watching defeat after defeat. And as a reminder, right? We're in turn 4, 8 episodes in, and 7 episodes in, and we haven't been able to attack anyone yet, right? We haven't had a single attack, so we haven't had any offensive victories. So it's you got to keep your chin up a little during this scenario. Okay, they did finally push us back there, so they are pressing hard towards Smolensk. Managed to hold their follow-up counterattack. I don't know if we will a second. They scouted us. And it looks like we had our tank divisions in reserve helping to the defense, which is what enabled us to hold. So that was crucial that we had those positioned there. This is going to be a big one right here. We need to hold them at this crossroads. We have 32 defensive value. We really need to hold them. Okay, so we've held them twice. Let's see if we can do it 3 or 4 more times. Defensive forces held. They're getting to within 50 though, so that's a little close. And we got pushed back. My goodness. This is so tough. Yeah, now they're going to come in and really mop up. Look at this. They're just breaking through. They have completely broken through our Smolensk line. Which means very soon they're going to be on the city itself. Had a route there too. My goodness. It's not good. Had the tank division in reserve that helped with that, so that's big. They lost 7 panzers in that attack. Then they lost another 2 here, so they've lost 9 panzers attacking that 1 hex. Finally, we did retreat though, but just by 1 hex. So that armor sitting in the rear in reserve is so critically important to help with these defensive lines. Alright, we're moving a little south now. I think this is a little south of Bryansk. Yeah, so they're trying to push through here. This is infantry versus infantry, right? So this is maybe a sign of, hey, maybe these guys were a little too far forward in the layers because they're coming up against the German infantry. And really, we kind of want to be a stopping force for the German panzers, not necessarily the German infantry, because the German infantry are just way too strong. What we want to do is slow down the armored advance. But we're really holding out in that 1 hex, which is curious. I don't know if we will another attack, though. I'll take it. Anytime we can have a defending forces held, I'll take it. I think we still have quite a bit more to do here down by Kiev, though. I don't think the turn here for the Germans is near over. There's a lot still to review. Let's see. It's feeling a little quiet. I'm curious what the computer's thinking about. It must be spinning a little bit. There must be a hamster running in my rig right now. Here we go. Okay, so now we're up by Aryol again. We managed to hold that attack. This is them trying to break through west to Bryansk. But we held again. That force, though, is not going to last much longer. Defensive value of 12, but still. Maybe they can survive the turn, though. That would be a win if that hex survives the turn. Right as I say that, they bring up a panzer division, which means this next attack will probably crush us. It did. I need to keep my big trap shut instead of jinxing myself like that. Here they're pushing north now. Just so overwhelming. Managed to hold again, though. Problem is we're holding, but we're not really inflicting any damage. We're adding fatigue, we're taking away from their combat prep, but we're not materially hurting their TOE. Yes, we got pushed back here. And there. My goodness, now we have another rout on our hands. This is the Das Reich SS Panzergrenadier Division that's pushing up here, so I mean that's a very formidable unit. Airborne Brigade retreated, but again forced them to exert those combat prep points. 17th Panzer pushed us out there. What a situation. Let's see, this is by Kiev, and they're finishing up some of the isolated artillery emplacements, which is fine. Really more than okay with them using their units to try to clean those up, because that then is one less unit that they have pushing towards Kiev this turn. But given how successful they were up near Peskov and Smolensk, I really do worry about Kiev this turn. I really hope we have enough there to hold it. Let's see. Jumped around here now. I think we're a little bit north of Odessa here. So they're trying to push through. Managed to hold there though. Yeah, and they're really kind of pushing and trying to get in behind some of our units and encircle some of these rifle divisions. Well, that was a little bit of overkill. An entire Panzer division and the SS Motorized Brigade. Oh, wow, they've really pushed far up here. Look at this. They're already to the southern front of Kiev. And they're already outnumbering us. My goodness. This is down south by Odessa. Let's see what they do there. I'm pretty sure they're going to fully encircle the city this turn, but I would really like to try to hold them at this river, at least to try to give us another turn or two. I want to say they haven't attacked Odessa yet, which is interesting, but then if I say that, then they're just going to attack it. So let's see what happens. They did move a lot of units around there, but they haven't yet cut off the city on the land. Looks like there was a battle result we didn't get a message box for, because we had that security unit route, it looks like. Assaulting enemy weak points. I always laugh at that comment. Our entire theater is a weak point. Alright, so that wraps the turn up. They did not press too hard on Kiev, which might be a blessing there. And then Odessa still has a land connection, and of course the sea connection to supply, so let's skip through some of these air resupplies they're doing. The name of the game is going to be, we need to save Smolensk now. Because they are way too close for comfort in Smolensk. Do a quick end of turn summary, look at the new events, and then we'll begin the next episode with a full review of the front. I need some type of cliffhanger to get you guys to watch the next episode, you know. Going through our Soviet logistics phase. Almost there. Okay. So, we lost 280,000 men, 5,000 guns, 2,300 armored fighting vehicles. Wow. 300 airframes. Total order of battle changes. This is a little interesting, right? So the Germans were pretty much flat on every metric. We were flat in men, you could say. Guns lost 1,500, armor lost 1,500, and lost 150 airframes. 117 units on low supply, 50 that are under strength, and 90 combat elements that are unready. Looking at new events, the Axis Finnish offensive begins. Okay, so this is them going through the northern front, and you see now that theater box is red. We have a garrison shortage in the Transcaucasus region, which we know about. The Germans, the Axis, have a setback in North Africa, which is good news for us. That moves up some of these other events. They also have a naval setback, which does the same thing. Partisans are just now beginning to form in the rear of the German lines, so that's good news for us. Mutual assistance, this is some flavor text about an Anglo-Soviet agreement, really for supplies and support as the war began in Russia. So there we have it. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching the video and the series and continuing to provide your support. If you've got any questions, comments, or feedback, please do toss them into the comments section. Love to hear from you and help out if I can ever provide any insight into my decisions or commentary for new players. As always, strategy gamers, hoping that you have yourselves an excellent day. Bye now.